Okay. Yeah, I gotta take care of this now. How you doing, Mr. Romero? Sorry I'm late. There was a lot going on in the lab. Boy, Mr. Romero, you're quite bony. Everything okay? Have you been doing the exercises we talked about? Mr. Romero? Mr. Romero? Mr. Romero?
Oh! Phil Nye, the science guy.
Do you realize to work these buttons and to open this door, you need every single muscle and bone in your body. They all work together. Whether you're waiting, whether you're walking funny, running, jumping, or flying, your muscles and bones work together to make you move.
But Phil, isn't it true that without your joints connecting your bones wouldn't move?
You're right, Kathy. Joints are what make our skeletons flexible. Without them, our bones and body just wouldn't move.
Yeah, a joint is made up of fibrous connective tissue and cartilage, also known as articulation and arthrosis.
Now I'm going to let you take it over and let's see what you can say more about our joints.
In our bodies, we have three major types of joints: fibrous, cartilaginous, and synovial joints. All these joints classify as synarthrosis, which are unmovable, amphiarthrosis, which are slightly movable, and diarthrosis, which are extremely movable. Fibrous joints are joined by fibrous tissue.
Very funny, Kathy. But actually, they're mostly made of dense fibrous connective tissue.
Yes, and no joint cavity is present. The amount of movement allowed depends on the length of the connective tissue's fibers on the bones. The three types of fibrous joints are sutures, synovial, and gymphosis.
Wow, that's absolutely fascinating. I'm going to let one of our experts take it over in Philadelphia. I have her phoning in today.
So let's talk about sutures, syndesmosis, and gymphosis. A suture is a fairly rigid joint between two or more hard elements of an organism, with or without significant overlap of the elements. A syndesmosis is a fibrous joint between two bones linked by ligaments in a strong membrane. A gymphosis is a specialized fibrous joint that anchors the root of a tooth into its bony socket within its maxillary bone, upper jaw, and mandible bone, lower jaw of the skull. A gymphosis is also known as a peg and socket joint.
Thank you so much, Welmys, for clarifying our different types of fibrous joints. Now I'm going to let Kathy take over and talk about our different cartilaginous joints.
There are two types of cartilaginous joints, synchondrosis and symphysis. Like fibrous joints, they lack a joint cavity and are not highly movable. A synchondrosis is a cartilaginous joint where the bones are joined by hyaline cartilage. A symphysis is a fibrocartilaginous fusion between two bones. It acts as a shock absorber and permits a limited amount of movement at the joint.
Wow, that's fascinating.
Now we're going to head over and show a video that one of our interns made about synovial joints.
Synovial joints are the most common used joints in our body. They're the ones that let us walk, run, and do all the crazy stuff humans can. These joints are connected through fluid joint cavity. Yes, fluid, not like fibrous and cartilaginous joints. Outstanding, isn't it? This one makes them so distinguishable to our other joints. Our synovial joints contain articular cartilage, joint cavities, articular capsules, synovial fluid, reinforcement ligaments, nerves, and blood vessels. This articular cartilage functions in order to absorb shock and reduce friction during movement of the body. They are truly remarkable.
We interrupt our program to bring you this important message.
So in our hand, we have hinge joints, like the hinges on a gate. Also on our hands, we have a special type of joint called the saddle joint. It's in our thumb. Lets our thumb go this way or this way. Two directions, one joint. Cool. Also in our body, we'll find ball and socket joints. The kind of ball and socket joint you see in a television antenna. Ball and socket joints in our body are in our hips.
But Bill, get down from there. Jesus Christ, you're embarrassing the family name. We talked about this. I'm sorry, folks. He sometimes gets a little carried away. How about we just take this back to the lab and forget what we just saw here? Okay, as weird as his performance was, my brother wasn't wrong. He of course forgot that we have three other very important synovial joints. We have our pivot joints. These joints allow us to rotate our bones and ligaments that can be found in our necks. That's why we can move our necks like this. We also have our convoy joints. These joints are located in our metacarpal and phalanx. These joints help us move our fingers like when we play the piano. And for our last synovial joint, we have our plane joints. They are located in our carpals. These joints allow us to move our hands and feet from left to right and down. They let us open things like jars. But here's where people get confused. You can move these diagonally, but not in rotation, because when you move them in a rotation, you sometimes...
They ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine, but you just can't get into it because they would never understand.
Now I bring it over to Dr. Martinez, renowned rheumatologist, to talk about our diseases that we can find in our bones.
Through the years, I have seen my fair share of diseases and joint complications, but the most common and tormenting disease would be arthritis, especially in kids.
Why is that?
Well, Phil, it's simple. It's never easy telling a child or even an adult that they won't be able to do the things they do, like go outside or ride a bike. Life is different now, and they have to understand that.
I know. These are all very difficult things to hear, which brings me to my next topic. What are your thoughts on strides scientists have been making with prostheses and transplants since the 1940s?
Well, Phil, I think it's great. There are millions of Americans every day fighting for our country that face tragedies to their bodies, and I'm so glad that the last couple of years, scientists have made plans to overcome these obstacles and get back what our soldiers and every American can lose. Amputations used to be the only option for life. Now there's even limb reattachment surgeries. Who would have known?
Thank you so much, Dr. Martinez. It's always a pleasure talking with you.
Don't be like Jeff. Be flexible in every situation.
And thank you, children of science, for watching. I hope you all learned a valuable lesson today. This has been Phil Nye. Thank you and goodbye.
Phil Nye, the science guy.
Bloopers?
It's gonna be
Get your head out the gutter.
and a Texas character. Oh my God, my name Dr. Martinez is Texas.
No.
Okay.
More flexible. Kathy?
That was nice, guys. Great take. Great take.
I forgot my name on your ass. Just kind of. How could you do this to Jeff? No.
Don't infect him.
He's dead. Now I'm gonna bring it over to Dr. I forgot your name. She's gonna be talking about our bones today. Wow,
It's the easiest line ever, Mark. Come on.
Jeff is dead and he's always looking like a snack.
Mark, now we know what type of meat we go for.
No,
Non-existent.
I had an aneurysm in my lungs.
Oh, what?
Is it leukemia in my lungs? No, that's cancer. That's
Leukemia.
pneumonia. I have pneumonia.
You said something stupid.
I said something stupid? I always say something stupid.
That's true.
I am stupid. It is part of who I am.
Hi. Oh my God.
I don't know why you do that to yourself.
Mommy.
Syndesmosis and symphysis. Like fibrous joints, they lack a joint cavity and are not.
Bro, Jeff. What class are we in? What class are we in? Don't be like Jeff. Mark's friend.
Phil Nye, the science guy.